Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal, which robs the second half of life of its purpose. We deem those happy who from the experience of life have learnt to bear its ills without being overcome by them. If one does not understand a person, one tends to regard him as a fool. Children are educated by what the grown-up is and not by his talk. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment and especially on their children than the unlived life of the parent. If you are a gifted person, it doesn't mean that you gained something. It means that you have something to give back. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Without this playing with fantasy, no creative work has yet come to birth. The debt we owe to the play of the imagination is incalculable. Nobody, as long as he moves along the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. The reason for evil in the world is that people are not able to tell their stories. The bigger the crowd, the more negligible the individual. We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. Whenever we give up, leave behind, and forget too much, there is always the danger that the things we have neglected will return with added force. Everyone is in love with his own ideas. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. Where love stops, power begins, and violence and terror. You always become the thing you fight the most. We don't so much solve our problems as we outgrow them. We add capacities and experiences that eventually make us bigger than the problems. Don't hold on to someone who's leaving. Otherwise, you won't meet the one who's coming. The greatest sin is to be unconscious. Nothing is possible without love. Everyone can afford to give away a smile. Life is something that has to be lived and not talked about. Life calls not for perfection, but for completeness.